On my last video on Hitman 2, I talked about how each map is so great, from Hawke's Bay to Santa Fortuna. In this video, I will be talking about how I enjoyed maps from Mumbai till the Isle of Sgail. So as you probably know at this point, I'm not trying to rank those maps by how much I enjoyed them, but giving you an idea of how they can be enjoyed equally. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it. As it stands, Mumbai is also another one of the more controversial maps on this list. This time the map gets more crowded than ever. You've got different parts of the city, at the center of which can be really hard to tell which alley goes which way. So I get why people get so disoriented by this layout. For me though, I would try to find every secret in the city, even if it means letting Maestro go and serving all the customers that come to the barbershop. Given that Mumbai is such a big map, there are so many things you can mess around with. Unfortunately, I don't have too much footage of this map, so I'm only gonna show the footage I recorded for one of my suit-only runs. This map deviates itself from some of the other maps, because this time you have not one, not two, but 3 targets, and the third target, well, you have to identify him yourself. The first 2 of which are easy to find, but not necessarily to kill without stirring some sort of trouble. As you progress through some of the challenges, 2 of the 3 targets will meet up at a rendezvous point, and it will make some pretty interesting assassination opportunities, and I'll get to those later. So you've got your first target, Dawood Rangan, and he has a whole building to himself. He doesn't really get out of this building, and you know what that means. The security is gonna be pretty tight, and this is where the master difficulty can be most fun when playing this map. If you played Hitman 2016, you would know that climbing used to be a huge pain in the ass. I'm glad in this game they've speeded it up a little bit. So when you're hanging off a ledge and the room above you has the target you want to go into and kill, when he turns around, you finally be able to make that vault and go up to him before he sees you. The core gameplay mechanic that revolves around this building is arguably climbing. Lots of climbing. And as opposed to the climbing back in Hitman 2016's Marrakesh, in which the school doesn't really allow any margin of errors, this time you've got a lot more room to breathe. You can even shoot the security cam from the elevator shaft. The safest ways to take out Dawood are made possible through this room, but it can still be kind of tricky. Having a bodyguard in that room can make a lot of things more complicated. You see, the artist in that room would need more paint to finish the portrait of Dawood Rangan. If you've known better before coming into this room or this level, the paint is found on the lower level that's got a bunch of staff walking around. So as soon as you enter the building, it's better if you stick to the path and get the paint first, then climb your way up to the painter's room. Before you hop into the room, make sure the painter is staring at his canvas and pondering the questions of life, and that the security guard is chilling on the couch. You gotta be extra careful when you approach behind the guard and put the paint back to its place, because I got caught in my first attempt. I knew it was gonna happen, so I saved it right before this. Oh, I forgot to mention, to make this a clean kill, you would have to have visited the Kashmirian's place in the Charles and adjusted his scope. The painter would walk Dawood Rangan to the room, and you'll be on your way to assassinate your next target. Find a telephone that's south of the map and inform your next target, Vanya Shah, about this. What's wonderful about this method is that by this point, you wouldn't have to do anything to identify the maelstrom yourself. They'll meet up in the train yard. It just so happens that they want to continue their conversation directly on the train track. And you know what that means? Agent 47 does what he does best, and you get 2 birds in 1 stone, plus a secret exit. You can also use pink smoke to get Dawo Rangan and Vanya Shaw to meet up near the fishing yard, and there you can kill them both with an accident. So yeah, there are parts that are hard to navigate in this map, but as long as you focus on your targets and how to eliminate them efficiently, and you should be good to go. Now we're here at Whittleton Creek. Picture the perfect serene countryside environment with vibrant, luscious, and neatly organized neighborhood. What could go wrong? Well, a lot, actually. To me, this map embodies perfectly what it means to be a Hitman map, while also adding a few new things to make it one of the most unique maps in the whole series. Whether you enjoyed Mumbai or you think the crowds are a bit too much, Whittleton Creek serves as a very nice change of pace. This map has a rather simple layout. All the houses in the neighborhood share a lot of similarities. Your targets, Janice and Cassidy, will be roaming around primarily around 4 houses out of the 14 houses you have access to. You would think that this would be very easy for a silent assassin suit only. Well, it can be fairly easy. The best assassination opportunity for Cassidy, I found, was when you get into this garage, you want to separate his bodyguard from him by tossing anything into this corner. And Cassidy would just forget that his bodyguard even existed. Also, I would like to point out that this fridge is just lying here in the perfect spot for hiding bodies. What I also really like about this map is that in each house your target roams in. You can take out pretty much everyone and save the target for last. This gives you plenty of time to search the house for anything you need. Now you want to catch up to Cassidy before he reaches the door and opens it, because if he reaches the door and you throw something on the ground, the guy outside is also gonna hear it and investigate it. That will prolong the assassination.
Nolan Cassidy is down.
Oh nice, there's a space for everyone. Cassidy roams between his house and the party house. It is possible to finish him in the toilet in that house, but it took me a couple of tries, because I really needed to do it for the emetic poison challenges. Funnily enough, even though Janus is an old grumpy man, Cassidy is much easier to catch. Janus's property is on the west side of the Wilson's property, which is where the party is held, and it's opposite to where Cassidy's property is. And right next to Wilson's property, there's Smith's property, where there's a tree house in the backyard. It is perfect for sniper assassin challenges. I mentioned that Janus is the harder target to get a hold of due to the higher level of security around his house. With the security cameras, you really just have to try on higher difficulties to get a feel of how to avoid them and how to get rid of them. The layout of Janice's house really just forces you to come up with the best ways possible to take out some of the extra goons so that you can get to Janice in peace. One easy way to neutralize your target is to lure him through memorabilia, and he will go to his basement to inspect on the symbol. That's your cue to smash his face in. Also, this is not just a regular basement. You can get to this basement from the other side, from Griswold property, which is the south of Janice property. So if you really want to avoid the cameras and the guards, you set up the memorabilia sequences and go upstairs, climb out the window, you can reach Janice's basement from Griswold's garage after you go through an underground tunnel. There's only gonna be one guard in that basement, so take him out and hide his body. Janice is gonna take a while to get there, but before he reaches the symbol, make sure to take out his bodyguard. After you finish the job, just exit through Griswold's garage. It kinda amazes me how you can just get between people's basements like this. But hey, if it makes for an easy assassination, I'll take it. I also thought that the disguises in this level are quite interesting. The burger flipper one was a bit annoying though, as you need to lure him out of the party into the bush next door. And the 3 clues are easily found in and around Wilson's property. All in all, I very much enjoyed the level design of this map. It's a nice balance between pursuing your objectives and finding ways to mess around with your environment. And it is beautiful as hell. Here we are at the Isle of Sgail. We find ourselves one with the Ark Society in the 6th and final main mission of Hitman 2. And coming right off the heels of Whittleton Creek's Serenity, we find ourselves in a storm after the calm. Right off the bat, the intro cutscene sets the tone for a very dark and gritty picture, and it feels like there is no easy way out from this island. The ambient soundtrack on this island gripped me like none other, to a point where I could just find myself roaming around the lower castle area and indulge in the atmosphere. IOI really cooked with this one. The 2 targets in this map can be really tricky to take out. Zoe Washington is almost always on the move, albeit her pattern is very predictable. In any Hitman map, there are a lot of ways to take out your targets, but I'm not gonna get into all of them. I only want to highlight those that are most interesting or most satisfying. Zoe Washington mostly walks around the museum area, connecting the upper and lower castle. If you want to get rid of her in an accident, I'm afraid you picked the wrong target. However, I've found a way to cheese her assassination. It just takes a little bit of time. The safest spot to do it is around this corner where Janice's funeral is held. Here you can choose to go to separate buildings to find Janice's dagger and robe. Pretend that you're Janice's dead body and finish off Zoe as she says her final words. It's amazing how many challenges you are able to complete with Janice's disguise, which I only discovered after dozens of tries. But anyways, back to the cheesing part. You want to hide in a bush here and lure as many guards as you can over to the other side, where the bush just conveniently leads you to the pipe for you to go up to the upper castle. Before you go ahead and attempt this, make sure that you smuggle as many throwables as you can and lure these guards closer to the pipe one by one. Be careful though when you sneak up behind an NPC who's investigating. When you see the silent attack prompt popping up, that's your cue to knock them out with a throwable. Otherwise the NPC might see you when you try to attack, even from behind. You want to get the attention of Zoe's bodyguard before they both enter the museum. That will cut off her bodyguard nicely. When she comes back around, find the perfect spot for her, which is right here near the bushes over the cliff. Retrieve all the items she drops, pick up your shit from all over the place, and let's get moving.
But first things first, 47. Focus on the target.
The easiest way to get rid of Sophia is by arranging a meeting with her and the Constant, which once again leads her to a conveniently placed cliff for you to push her to her demise. You have to be very quick though to climb from the lower floor to the higher floor and climb through the window. But that's not the way I want to show you, which I haven't really seen anyone else doing, is to come to this upper floor in the building with the penthouse. This is probably, in my opinion, the scariest room in the whole map. So right here, I've got to save before I do anything. You've got 2 stationary guards and 1 obnoxiously moving guard. And there's only this one spot you can lure this guard to without other guards seeing anything. and you can only hide 2 of the guards into this otherwise gigantic laundry basket. You gotta knock out all 3 guards in quick session before Sophia comes in. Hide the 3rd guard's body closely behind this couch. Make sure that he is in a comfortable resting position. But if you let him stretch his arms, Sophia would definitely notice it. In the next room, you'll find the security cam system, but it's very heavily guarded by 2 guards. On master difficulty, this is where I fumble the most. What you want to do here is you leave the door open for a shot. Then right after you shoot the security cam system, the door should be closed, and that prevents you from being spotted instantly as the guards turn around. It's very important that you shoot the system, as there's a camera directly above the 2 guards. And notice how the window in the control room is shield shot, so you wouldn't be able to get in another way on master difficulty if you're doing a Sgail run. Now you can just wait for Sophia to come in alone. In any Hitman map, I've learned that you should pay extra attention to which way the door opens. Hiding on the wrong side often gets me killed. As for the constant, if you're playing on the Sgail run, you don't even have to bother with him, just leave. This map isn't without its quirks. However, the quirks I find are quite charming. One series of challenges require you to put on the armor you find at the top of the penthouse and to absolutely demolish the place as you shoot your way from the penthouse to the lower castle, just to stand on all 8 armor plinths throughout the map. Another series of challenges require you to take on the mantle of Blake Nathaniel as you steal all the treasures in the museum. The character's existence also happens to be a fun nod to Indiana Jones. As Blake, you also unlock a secret exit. Whee! So in the end, I don't really understand why this map ranks worse among a lot of fans. There are some of the most gratifying assassinations I've done in the whole game. Some of the opportunities in this level are a bit nonsensical, I get, though they're pretty charming. And I just want to take a moment to appreciate the powerful soundtrack in this level. Now that I have walked you through why and how I've enjoyed every level in Hitman 2, main missions anyway, if you made this far, thank you very much. I'll come back to doing more of this once I finish Hitman 3 and all the DLC maps. If you've enjoyed my take, please make sure to like this one and have a good one.